Forcing us to attend a meeting on vacation? Fine. See you at midnight. Today's story comes from the world of education, where teachers are burnt out, overworked, and underpaid. Due to an influx in federal funding due to COVID stimulus money, our district decided to put that money to good use. Did they give much needed raises? Hire more aides? Update our 60-year-old building? No. Even better. They hired several educational consultants to coach us on how to do our jobs. This alone was very insulting to most teachers, many of whom had been teaching longer than some of the consultants had been alive. Thankfully, many of the new consultants didn't really impact our day-to-day work. But there is one who is particularly difficult. I'll call her the Panther for reasons known only to me and a couple of colleagues. But it's a nickname she comes by honestly. The Panther continually adds to our workload, insults teachers with snide remarks, and talks down to the staff. At one point it got so unbearable that the most experienced teacher in our department simply got up from a meeting, told the principal to get a sub, and drove away. One of the biggest issues has been a sharp spike in unneeded meetings as consultants work to justify their contract. We meet to discuss data, testing, plan units, or do everyone's favorite team building activities. However, all is finally looking up. As every teacher knows, we are nearing the most wonderful time of year, Christmas break. We will get 2 glorious weeks of not being harassed by students or administrators. Enter the Panther. We received an email at the end of last week from our consultant telling us we needed to have a meeting over Christmas break to plan Unit 4. She told us we could pick the day and time and then send her the Zoom link and she would join to lead it. Needless to say, the department was very unhappy. We had already planned the unit anyway, but the Panther said she needed to be involved in any planning and insisted the meeting was necessary. Finally, my department head had had enough. She planned the meeting as instructed and sent us all the link for the Zoom session. The meeting was planned for 11 p.m. on December 24th. We all instantly accepted the meeting time and confirmed that we would attend. For some reason, the Panther wasn't happy with the meeting time. She pushed back, griped to an assistant principal, who backed us, and tried to get us to change, but she got the same answer everywhere. You told them to schedule a meeting, so either attend or cancel. She canceled. TLD, our consultant tried to force us to meet during our vacation. We planned the meeting for 11 p.m. on Christmas Eve. The meeting was canceled. Well played, angry teachers. Well played. I think that consultant needs some coal in their stocking this year. Just wondering, what state is this? I thought there were strings attached to the federal money. At least that's what our district told us. Has to be at least tenuously related to COVID. So we got HVAC stuff, couple more teachers, a trailer to reduce class size in the main building, etc. I love that the response of administrators is always that we're not doing enough. Literacy suffering? Add another program that increases everyone's homework load. The problem couldn't possibly be that teachers and students are completely overwhelmed. Maybe need some room to rest and breathe. Great MC. I taught upper elementary grades in the U.S. for a few years decades ago. I rolled my eyes when I realized your story was about the visiting consultants. May I share my favorite visiting consultant story from long ago? This was more than 30 years ago, so I'm fuzzy on the exact wording. But the story is true. My school district spent tax dollars to hire a consultant, Drive Jones, to come in and lecture us for a whole day of in-service training on how we were not challenging our students enough. In very simple terms, make lessons harder. Exactly 2 weeks after that in-service day, the district spent more tax dollars to hire a different consultant, Dr. Smith, to come in and tell us we were making our lessons too difficult for our students. In very simple terms, make lessons easier. By the last session of the second in-service day I was puzzled. In the general question and answer session at the end of the day I stood up and asked Dr. Smith. 2 weeks ago, Drive Jones told us our lessons are too easy and we need to make lessons more challenging. Now today you are telling us the opposite. That our lessons are too difficult and we need to make them less challenging. Doesn't this directly contradict what Drive Jones told us to do? Quote, Dr. Smith never was allowed to answer my question before Drive Smith could reply. The director of elementary education stood up from her front row seat, whirled around and told me in a very angry-sounding voice. Clearly, Mr. Snappyland, you were unable to understand what you were taught last time and again today. We can't waste the whole group's time making these concepts any clearer just for you. She turned around then and told Dr. Smith to move on to the next question. Afterward, several teachers approached me and told me that my question was a valid question, but they had been afraid to ask it themselves lest they anger the administrators. I never heard about it again from my principal or from any other administrators. One thing I learned at school: never play any version of chicken with a teacher. Mandatory meeting during non-work time? Our teachers' union out here would eat that alive. My mother just retired effective next week due to one of these educational consultants. She has been teaching the same 3 subjects for 30 years and has had the lesson plans developed years ago and refined each year. The consultant wanted input on every single day's lesson. She's retiring and taking all of her lessons with her. This post could go 2 ways on our teachers, but this sub completely appreciates your compliance. This is perfect for this sub and perfectly executed. Very definition of MC lol. The school system has always amazed me. The only thing more irresponsible than the students is the administration. Surprised the principal didn't give himself a raise for the 11th time this year. Team building activities during a widespread pandemic is pure genius. I work for a private university. My contract ended last Friday and restarts during the first week of January. I was asked to send all my planning and tests for the next course on December 23rd. At the latest. Last year, the deadline was December 31st. The coordinator's exact wording was, "If you want to enjoy your family time, you will surely have delivered it all way before the deadline." Haha. Quote. Well done, fellow teachers. Why didn't you all just say no? I would have outright refused. Outside of contracted time? Hell no. 11 p.m. Christmas Eve Classic. Consultants. Mind you, there are some excellent consultants out there. I once worked in a lab that had to report data to the FDA. We got a consultant to teach us the regulations. She was a former FDA inspector and was an absolutely great instructor. But then there are others who somehow justify their existence to upper management and inflict themselves on the rest of us. Some of these I'd gleefully strangle with my bare hands. But the consequences aren't worth it. So we dutifully attend the session. And we listen very nicely, then go out and do precisely what we want. Quote. Paraphrase from My Fair Lady. I'm impressed the admins backed up the teachers. My wife has been put through so many unpaid evening trainings in our county, it's despicable. If you have to hire a consultant to do the job that the management or administration is supposed to do, then you have bad management. What's the teachers' union opinion on mandating work during scheduled vacation time? I regret that I have but one upvote for this post. Talented teachers are quitting in droves for other professions because of nonsense like this. Keep fighting the good fight. Teachers like you are the kind of people I want educating my son. This was fantastic MC and exactly the kind of story I come to this sub for.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.